have the ASU packet?
This is the ASU packet. Yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Pac-12 digital stream live from Wells Fargo Arena in Tempe, Arizona, for some Pac-12 gymnastics coming to you now. I'm Carly Mathias, joined by Mary Atkinson-Belma. It's good to be with you. So let's get right into it. Arizona State's taking 14 Auburn, number 20 Iowa, and number 29 Iowa State. What do the Gym Devils need to do to get this win tonight?
Well, for starters, they need to get through the meet without having to count a fall or a major blunder on any event. But that's not going to be enough to get them the win tonight. In addition to that, they're going to need to make sure that they execute all of their routines very cleanly, that they have stuck landings, they need to hit handstands on bars. So it's going to be the attention to details that will get them the win, not just avoiding counting a fall.
Good. So ASU's coming off of a 3-10 season. They showed many improvements throughout the season in the inter squads. Earlier this year, you could see that this team has the potential to do well. 5 newcomers, 2 transfers, 3 freshmen. The consistency is definitely the key, staying healthy. What do you think ASU can do to make their way into the top 25 this year?
Well, I think they definitely have the talent to be there. I think it's going to be confidence in their routines, making sure that they get out of the gate at this first meet, they hit routines so that they can gain confidence and steam going into the rest of the season.
Okay. So ASU will be in Olympic order, so they will start off on vault, followed by Auburn on the uneven bars, Iowa on balance beam, and Iowa State on floor. Auburn's number 14 in the nation. They made it to the Super Regionals last year. They always have a talented team, year in and year out. They did not get any wins in the SEC last year. They only had 3-15, but they made their name known. They'll definitely be ASU's toughest competitor tonight.
Absolutely. And, you know, wins and loss records, especially within conferences like the SEC and the Pac-12, are really deceiving because they have extremely strong gymnastics programs within the conference. So just to look at a conference record and maybe have a rating record there isn't really characteristic or representative of how strong a program is.
I definitely agree with that. ASU has 10 opponents ranked in the top 25 preseason coaches poll. Pac-12 alone has Utah, UCLA, Cal, Oregon State, Washington, and Stanford all ranked in the top 25. So it's definitely a tough conference to be in.
Absolutely.
Auburn is expected to have at least 10 gymnasts deep in all of their lineups. Today they'll be featuring 1 senior, 5 juniors, 3 sophomores, and 4 freshmen. Iowa State, Iowa, they have 2 Big Ten conference gymnasts on the watch list, Lainey Snyder and Claire Kai.
And that's the thing, every single one of these programs is going to have a couple stellar athletes that really are very top-notch, that their routines can compete with the best of them. Even if the depth of the lineup isn't there, every program in college gymnastics right now has at least 1 or 2 standout athletes.
That's for sure. Nichelle Christopherson is the lone senior on the ASU team. She was a big part of their success last year and will definitely be a big part of it this year. Junior transfer Anne Coombe from France. She has a lot of experience in the international level. She was in the 2020 Olympics in London, and she was an alternate for the 2016 Olympics in Rio for France. She is definitely one to look out for this season. She brings lots of poise and great skill coming from the elite level.
Yeah, as an elite athlete competing on the international stage, she has very clean lines and a very polished look to her gymnastics. Not only that, she's had tremendous experience competing under pressure on some very big stages. So it will be really interested to see how she does in the collegiate world, and we expect big things from her.
That's for sure. Another one to look out for is freshman Kyra Leonard Baker. She comes from head over heels gymnastics. Same with Caitlin Lentz, her teammate. She definitely proved herself in the two teams inter-squads meet to be a real contender with this team. She showed on all 4 events, and she's definitely going to bring a lot of power to this ASU team. Another newcomer to the team is Caitlin Safransky. She's the sister of Ashley Safransky.
Absolutely. ASU has a lot of very strong freshmen. They have some good talent transferring in. So it'll be really interesting to see how those athletes make their way into the lineups. And there's going to be a lot more competition amongst the ASU gymnasts to get into one of those 6 lineup spots. And competition is really an excellent way to really bring the best out in each of these gymnasts.
Arizona State will start off on vault, and that's an event that they really struggled with last season. They didn't really have a true vault specialist that could get them the scores that they needed. Morgan Wilson was definitely one of their best and most improved on the event. She'll be in the lineup tonight. But again, Ann Coombe, Kate Safransky, they're going to be bringing a lot of upgrades to this Sun-Devil lineup.
Yeah, one of the places that ASU has really struggled in previous years is really having the depth and difficulty in their lineup on vault. The layout for Yurchenko is now valued at a 9.95 for a maximum start value. And even in previous years, they've struggled to fill 6 athletes with that 9.95 start value. So ASU will be looking to try to get the most that they can out of that event. I don't know if they have any 10-0 vaults, but they certainly have the talent that if they're not competing them tonight, I'm certain that they're training them in the gym.
Definitely, that's for sure. Auburn finished last year with 3 consecutive high scores, capped at 196 in the Fayette Regional.
It looks like we just have the first routine from Auburn finished on bars. A beautiful step dismount there.
Kate Safransky's on vault now.
Very nice layout pull to start the vaulting rotation. That's the kind of vault that ASU wants to start off with.
Up next, Iowa on beam. On beam, we have Misty J. Carlson. She's a junior from Portland, Oregon.
She looks very confident up there. Oh, and that was unfortunate. It's going to put a lot of pressure.
Up next on vault, we have Caitlin Lentz. She's a junior from Head Over Heels Gymnastics. She was definitely a strong competitor for ASU last year. She was voted most improved by her teammates last season. She has a career high 9.825 on the vault.
Also is a nice vault. A little bit chest forward on the landing. She'll take a small deduction for that, but very clean. And unfortunately, Iowa State just had a fall on the floor.
Score just came in for Drew Watson on bars for Auburn. She got a 9.8.
Another major team from Auburn on bars. She did a ginger for her release move and a nice double layout for the dismount.
Jess Ginn will be on vault for ASU. The sophomore is a local. She's from Desert Lights Gymnastics. She's a vault specialist. She definitely was one of the only gymnasts in the lineup last year that was consistently in lineup throughout the whole season. Kate Safranciu's score was a 9-7.
Good vault. Quite a large step there on the landing, and her chest is a little bit forward, but still ASU is picking up steam in the vault lineup.
And 9-6-2-5 for Caitlin Lentz. Next is Iowa on the beam.
Looks like we're waiting on the judges here on a couple different events.
This is Lanny Snyder. Ann Coombs on the vault now for ASU.
Oh, and that'll be the second fall for Iowa on beam, so they're going to have to count a fall in their lineup.
Back to Auburn on the bars. Their last routine, Kendall Moss, got a 9-7-7-5.
They get another clean routine for Auburn.
Jeskin receives a 9-7-5 from her vault. Cairo Leonard Baker is about to show.
A nice distance from the table on that. ASU is going to need to work on kind of sticking those landings on vault, cleaning them up a little bit if they want to maximize their scores there.
9-7-2-5 for Ann. Over on floor is Iowa State.
Every gymnast is required
We
to...
have Sophia Steinmeier. She's a freshman from West Lawn, Pennsylvania.
It's her double salto pass. Every gymnast is required to compete one pass with 2 salto elements in it. Looks like we'll head back over to bars with Auburn. Pike Jaeger a little bit close to the bar. She'll get a small deduction for that. And back to vault with Morgan Wilson.
Morgan Wilson there for vault.
She is such a tall gymnast. She has such a nice line when she does that vault, but she does need to watch the pike in her hips.
We have Snyder for Iowa on the beam.
Actually, I believe that this is...
Nikki Yude last season.
So I believe she was going to try to connect that front aerial to her backhand spring layout step out series, but she had a small balance break there. We'll see if she needs that for bonus.
Here we go. Gracie Rushton, sophomore in vault.
With the tucked full, I think that may have been an exhibition on the vault.
Back to Youd.
sweep series there gives her some bonus, but she'll get a deduction because her back leg on her split jump wasn't quite up to horizontal.
Over in bars, we have Auburn.
Big release combination there. Double Arabian dismount on bars, and she just didn't quite have enough rotation to stay on her feet. I believe that's the only mistake that Auburn has had on bars thus far in the rotation. So hopefully they'll be able to not count an error.
ASU completed vault with a 48.725 total. Morgan Wilson had the highest score with a 9.8. They will move on to bars for their second rotation. Over on floors, Iowa State.
Strong double pike. That was a really nice double pike at the end of her routine. You know, a lot of athletes are tired and out of breath for their last pass. They choose to go with something that's slightly easier. It was really nice to see the difficulty throughout the routine there for Iowa State on floor.
Back on the beam is Bree Fitzke. She's a sophomore from Wisconsin. This is her first time seeing any action. She did not compete in 2017. So she's making her Iowa debut right now. Back over in bars.
So far, this routine from Day has just been impeccable. And it looks like her grip just didn't quite get over the bar in that giant full.
Back over on beam.
Beautiful step dismount for Iowa on beam.
Iowa State is back on the floor. Their first two routines, Megan Sievers received an 8.9. She did have a fall in that routine. Sophia Steinmeier, she got a 9.6. So they definitely have to make up some lost points in these final routines.
A really nice middle pass, nice and clean. She was a little out of control on her very first tumbling pass. She did a double tuck and kind of bounced back out of it, but it looks like
she's been in the all-around since she was a freshman. She's shown consistent improvements throughout her years.
Very clean last pass. Iowa State will be happy to have that score.
Very fun routine. Back on beam with Iowa. This is Claire Kaji. She is from Vancouver, Canada. She's a sophomore. She competed in every meet in 2017. She She qualified as beam specialist for the NCAA championships, where she finished 17th in the nation.
That is incredibly difficult to do as an individual. Steph is known for Iowa.
Iowa will still have to count one of those falls on beam.
And our stats are updating a little bit slow here, but as soon as we have the team totals from the first rotation, we'll bring that to you guys.
Hi guys, welcome back to Pac-12 Digital. After the first rotation, Arizona State is in first with a 48.725, followed by Iowa State with a 48.65. Auburn is in third with a 48.425, and Iowa is in fourth with a 48.3.
So Auburn and Iowa both had to count major errors in their first rotation. Iowa had 2 gymnasts that fell off the beam, so by having to count 5 of the 6 scores, they effectively had to count 1 of those falls. And then Auburn had 1 gymnast fall off the bar and 1 gymnast fall on the event in a pirouetting error, had to pause and kind of restart her routine, which accounted for a major deduction.
ASU will now be on bars. Auburn will be on vault. I'm sorry, Iowa State will be on vault. Auburn will be on beam, and Iowa will be on floor.
Like all of the events are getting underway here.
We have Allie Riddle, a freshman, on beam for Auburn. She's from Gulf Coast Gymnastics in Alabama.
So the leadoff athlete on every event, you typically want to be one of your most consistent athletes. To get up there, get a solid routine underway. That way it takes a little bit of a pressure off of all the other gymnasts in the lineup.
That's what Morgan Wilson is doing for ASU. She's leading off on the bars. Morgan is a junior from Missouri. She has a career high of 9.85.
She pulled in quite a bit on that dismount, didn't quite have the distance away from the bar that the judges like to see. And as such, she also had to take a step back because of the over-rotation.
Riddle is about to finish her routine over here on beam.
So Auburn successful there, getting a pit routine out of the way.
Over on vault is Iowa State.
That's their second layout full of this rotation. Both clean and pretty consistent in quality to the ones that ASU did last rotation.
Up next on bars for ASU is Morgan Hart, sophomore from Las Vegas, Nevada. Morgan had to deal with a heel injury last year, so she wasn't able to compete the entire season, but she did come back strong, and she did definitely show what she was made of for this ASU team at the end of the season. She has a career high 9.825 on the bars.
Looks like we're going to switch and show you guys a vault here from Iowa State. Another layout full.
Back on beam with Auburn. This is Samantha Serio.
Deduction there in her series. I thought she had it, but was a little unsure of herself.
Morgan Hart on the bars for ASU.
Clean handstand. Step dismount.
Beautiful landing there. Morgan Wilson received a 9.7 in her first routine over Iowa State on the vault.
Oh, that's the first 1.5 we've seen on vault today. Very nicely executed. She should have deductions for height and distance from the table, but the first 10-0 vault that we've seen today.
That's Sophia Steinmeier. She's a freshman. She was a vault specialist in her junior Olympic career.
so often about needing to stick landings and hit handstands, but on every event there are certainly other places where the judges can take deductions and differentiate skills and routines from athletes from one another to place gymnasts. And on vault, it's not just about the landing, although that is a big part of it. The judges also look for amplitude, height, and distance off the table. You typically want to make sure that you're completing whatever twist or flip well before you land. You shouldn't be twisting as your feet are coming into the ground. And at no point do you ever want to be close enough to the table where there's fear of nicking your toes or hitting your head on it. That would incur a pretty serious deduction for distance and amplitude.
That was Nikki Yao, senior for Iowa. Back on bars is Ashley Safransky. She was by far the best on this event for ASU last season. She has a career high 9.875, and you can tell she's 5'8". She's the tallest on the team, and she is long and lean, and those lines are clearly shown in her routine.
So far for ASU, that's been 3 relatively clean hit routines. They'll be happy to start off the rotation that way.
Back on beam with Auburn, this is Katie Becker.
Very solid series for Auburn.
Her career high on this event is a 9.8. Iowa State on vault. That was Haley Young. Becker finishing off her routine there on beam.
Now, Auburn's had a couple bobbles here on beam, a couple balance errors where they've either bent over at the waist or lifted a foot off the beam. Those typically are at least a 1/10 deduction. And then we haven't quite seen the stuck landings from them that I would expect coming into the season with a preseason ranking of 14.
Over on bars, freshman Kyra Runner Baker is about to show. One thing I noticed with her routine when I watched them at the inner squad is she really flies. Right there, you can see it.
Oh, able to save that handstand there. That could have been seriously detrimental if she had gone the wrong way over the bar. And her full in dismount was probably 6 feet above the high bar there. You don't see that every day.
No, you don't, but she definitely has the power to get over the bar. Over on floor for Iowa. This is Charlotte Sullivan. She is from New Zealand. They have a few international gymnasts on this team.
That was a really pretty leap combination from her. All gymnasts are required to perform a series of dance elements in a row as part of their special requirements. And you can actually lose as much in execution on those as you can on some of the harder tumbling elements.
Sullivan won the New Zealand Nationals 5 different times. And she competed in every meet as a freshman for Iowa last season. Back on beam for Auburn. Katie Becker's score came in as a 9.65. In the background, you can see there Anne Kuhn getting started on her routine. She's a transfer from France. Emma Slappy just finished off her routine. Back to Anne.
So far, Erin's routine has been very clean.
Michelle Christopherson to finish things off on the bars for ASU. She was the anchor on the event last season, and as you can tell, she's the anchor again this year. Over on 4 is Iowa.
Round up double pike and stepped out of bounds there.
Senior Melissa Zarowski.
Stepping out of bounds is a 1/10 deduction. So the judges will score her routine based on execution and the elements in the routine, and then subtract an additional 10 for the out of bounds. Really showing off her personality here in her choreography.
Very fun routine. Michelle Christopherson just finished her routine on the bars.
Yeah, so Michelle's routine was clean. It was really very nice until the ending. She pulled in a little bit close on her dismount and had to take a step there to correct for her distance from the bar and kind of being off on her twist on the landing. But they'll still give her a good score for that. I think the deduction on the dismount will be minimal.
Couple of score updates for you on beam for Auburn. Emma Slappy received a 9.825. Allie Riddell received a 9.775. Katie Becker, you saw she had that wobble on the beam. She got a 9.65. And Samantha Serro got a 9.725. Kate Safransky is about to show exhibition on the bars. Kate is the transfer from LSU, and she only showed exhibition while having her 2 years there. So this is, again, some great practice, and she's making her ASU debut on vault and then showing on.
So far, a couple form breaks, especially in the leg separation. This will be areas that she will want to clean up if she wants to make her way into lineup.
This is Abby Millay, the redshirt junior, on the beam. My apologies, Taylor Krippner, the junior. She has a career high 9.925 in this event.
She looks extremely confident up there.
Even with that little wobble, she got right back on.
She tried to cover it by making it into a pose. Now hop there on the landing.
Back to the floor with Iowa. This is Lanny Snyder, the senior. This is one of her specialties.
A stuck double pike.
Some updated scores for you for ASU on bars. Kyra Leonard Baker received a 9.775, Ann Coombe a 9.825, Morgan Wilson a 9.7, Morgan Hart a 9.8, and Ashley Safransky a 9.7. Taylor Krippner's scores came in on beam, a 9.75.
This athlete we're showing you on beam right now for Auburn appears to be an exhibition.
This is Meredith Silva. She's a freshman from Parquet Gymnastics, where Ashley and Kate Safransky from ASU also trained.
Really hung on to that there. You can see the way her toes drift to the beam.
Little step there on the dismount. Over on floor, we have sophomore Claire Kaji.
So she opened her routine with a very, very nice double pike and then a twisting pass for her second. She did have a leg separation in that middle pass, so she'll be deducted for that. She's gearing up for her last pass here. That's a big double tuck to end the routine.
And I believe that concludes the second rotation. We will be right back, give you some updated scores.
That's it.
Hi guys, welcome back. We have some updated scores for you. Iowa State now in first place with a 97.625. Arizona State close behind with a 97.575. Iowa in third with a 97.225, followed by Auburn with a 97.15.
So Iowa State was able to take the lead there, but ASU is only half a tenth behind them, so they are really neck and neck. It could be anybody's meet from here, including Iowa and Auburn at 4/10 and 4.475 behind. They still have an opportunity to make up that ground, especially if one of the top two teams here stumbles at all.
ASU is fairly strong on beam. They finished the season last year at the Pac-12s, and they scored their highest event total on beam of the season. They have a lot of beam specialists. Leading off is Justine Callis. She led off last season. She's always very confident in her routines. So if they can stay consistent and stay clean, they can definitely pull ahead with this event too.
Absolutely. In fact, I think that beam and floor are probably one of ASU's better two events. So there's definitely room for them to pull away with the lead here on beam and then to close things out on floor.
Sophomore Justine Callis getting things started off for ASU. This is a new routine for her.
Justine is extremely flexible, and most of her choreography works to show that off.
She has a triple series here.
Nice and solid.
She scored a career high 9.8 last season on this event.
That's a new skill for Justine. Just has her dismount here. And try to hold on for a stick there, but I had to hop forward.
Over on floor is Auburn. That was Ashley Smith finishing off her routine. Over on bars is Iowa State. Leading things off is Ariana Arrego. Ariana's a freshman. She's from Lima, Peru. She's Peru's first Olympic gymnast. She competed in the all-around in Rio.
Short on all of her handstands in her routine.
Little fast there. Looked like she was trying to speed through it.
Yeah, you know, some of that is just getting the nerves out of working through. This is their first meet. The gymnasts want to get out there, want to get a hit routine under their belts, and then they'll go back into the gym and really work on polishing the routines.
Cairo Leonard Baker, the freshman, now on beam. Justin Callis received a 9.775. A little smile there.
Very solid series there for Cairo. You know, every year these schools get new freshmen in, they get new talent onto their team, and it's really interesting to see how the freshmen are going to get out there and compete. And it's the college coach's job to really make sure that they're prepared. Competing in college is not like any club meet that these athletes have ever competed in. The number of fans that are here, the excitement that surrounds the competition, the fact that they're competing for a team now and not just themselves, it can be very different.
Over on bars is Iowa State. Kelsey Paz. Iowa State, or Iowa on vault. This is junior Caitlin Lentz on beam. Cairo Leonard Baker received a 9.75. Lentz received a 9.875 last season for career high.
forward on the dismount.
Still very confident with that routine. You could tell she was happy with it overall.
Yes, I think that was a great routine for ASU, and I think that they'll be hoping that they can get up into the 9.8 range with that score.
Katie Becker on floor now for Auburn. Becker is a sophomore. Was an all-around qualifier in the national championships for Auburn last season. Haley Young on the bars for Iowa State.
Pretty bail to the low bar.
Ann Coombe, junior, on beam. Lentz receiving 9.75 for her previous routine.
Small bounce there for Mann. And she wasn't able to regain her composure there. So she'll look to finish the routine with as little errors as possible, just in case another gymnast later in the lineup also has a fall. Double for dismount for Ann.
Beautiful dismount for Ann. She regained her composure and was able to finish off strong.
Absolutely, and you know, when you're up there, you have a fall. The reality is you don't know whether there are going to be other athletes behind you in the lineup that have errors. So it's important to make sure that you get every 10th out of your routine, just in case your score ends up having to count for the team.
That's for sure.
Over to Auburn on floor. Oh, I believe that's Auburn's second fall in their lineup on floor. So it looks like Auburn's going to have to kind of fall on floor.
Ann Coombe receiving a 9.4 for her beam routine after the fall.
And a 9.4 is a good score for a routine with a fall. The fall is a 5/10 deduction. Sorry, correction, 9.3. Even a 9.3 is a good score for a routine with a fall.
Ashley Safransky, the sophomore, on beam now. She was definitely one of the best on the team in this event last season. Again, her long, lean body really shows with those clean lines on this event.
The biggest things Ashley can do here is obviously she wants to get a good score to count for the team, but it's more to be hitting and getting the momentum going for ASU again. You don't want the next athletes behind her to have to worry about whether their falls might, their wobbles might impact the team score or if they have a fall. So by having the next athlete go up, hit a really clean, strong routine can really do a lot for the other athletes on the team that have to follow.
As you can see, a couple signature skills for Ashley in this routine. definitely make up for Anne's fall. Back on floor with Auburn. This is Emma Slappy.
Short landing there.
Now anchoring the event on beam is senior Nichelle Christopherson. Nichelle qualified for regionals in this event last year. Fell off, but got right back up.
So ASU will have to count a fall on beam. It's going to be between Nichelle's and Anne's score on which one is higher. So Nichelle's going to do the same thing that Anne was doing earlier, try to get every tenth, save every tenth in the rest of her routine to maximize her score.
Slight hop on the dismount, but still was able to regain her composure. But as Mary said, ASU will have to count one fall on the event. Back on floor with Auburn. This is Abby Millay.
Very clean first pass.
The redshirt junior missed most of last season with an injury. She only competed in 3 meets, so she's coming back after that.
Should be a big score for Auburn on floor.
On exhibition for beam for ASU is Heather Udowich. One interesting thing about her routine is it's almost completely no hands. Prior to the 2017 season, she had shoulder surgery, so she tries to have as little pressure as possible on her shoulders. Nichelle's score did come in. It was a 9-2, so they will count Anne's score of a 9-3.
Really solid kick over front there.
be sure to see her in the beam lineup sometime this season. But for now, we're going to take another break, and we will come back with some updated scores. Hi guys, welcome back to the Pac-12 Digital. Few meet standing updates. Iowa State took first place with in that rotation with the 146.15. Not far behind, Arizona State and Iowa are tied with a 145.95, and Auburn, they're in fourth with a 145.125. They're more than a point behind Iowa State, so it's going to be very difficult for them to come back.
Right, at this point, it's really anyone's meet between Iowa State, ASU, and Iowa. A 2/10 difference is something that either team can certainly make up and take over the lead in this last event. Auburn, I expect to have some of the biggest vaults from any of the schools at this meet, but it's going to be a tall order for them to come up with a full point to overcome that differential.
Couple fun routines coming for ASU on floor. Lots of performers. One unexpected thing is Cairo Leonard-Baker, the freshman. She's going to be anchoring the event. So that's a great honor for a freshman to be anchoring a floor like this.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that comes from Cairo's power. She's a very powerful gymnast, and I expect to see some really big tumbling from her.
That's for sure.
So we are already underway here on beam with Iowa State.
This is Sophia Steinmeier, the freshman.
Now Iowa State in the lead here, having to close out their meet on beam. That can be the one event where nerves get to gymnasts the most. So it's going to be very important for them to start off strong in their lineup, not have any big errors early on, so that they can just kind of coast and trust the training.
Over on floor is senior Nichelle Christopherson. Nichelle had a season high 9.8 on this event last year.
No, I believe Nichelle used to anchor this event.
She did. Last season, she anchored it.
Two tumbling passes down and very clean landings on both of them. You know, that's one thing as a coach, deciding who you want to start off an event and anchor event. Like we talked about on beam, you want someone who's steady, is going to get up there and get a good routine underway and get the team rhythm into check and get the momentum going. But you also want a routine that's going to start the scores high. Scores tend to climb throughout the rotation. Best athletes are typically at the end to garner the highest scores. And you want to make sure that your first athlete is going to score high enough that you don't start scoring from too low of a point. And that's exactly what ASU has done there. Nichelle had a very clean routine, all three tumbling passes with landings and very, very much in control.
Iowa on the uneven bars. This is Emma Hartzler. She's a freshman from Iowa.
Oh, and chest down. She'll probably lose about 2.5 tenths on that landing. 2 steps forward, and then also the chest down deduction. Iowa State's first athlete on beam scored a 9.65, so they'll want to drop that score and look to improve with each of their next 5 routines.
This is Justine Callis, the junior on floor. New routine for her, and she's definitely a performer, so she has fun with this.
Justine opens with a double pike. Just stayed in bounds there. She scrunched her toes so that she did not step over the white line.
That was a great save from Callis.
Takes tremendous awareness to be able to do that.
Very fun and clean routine from Callis. Iowa had a fall there on bars, so she's getting back up.
Looks like Iowa had one other low score already in their lineup. So unfortunately, they will have to count a low score, and that probably dashes their hopes of being able to pull out the win here tonight.
And again, she fell there on her dismount. Back to beam, Iowa State. This is MJ Johnson. Little wobble there. Slight step back on the dismount. Over on floor, we have sophomore Jess Ginn. Jess was in and out of the floor lineup last season, but seems to make her way back in it.
Front through to a double toe. She landed on a skill cushion there. Gymnasts are allowed to land on a cushion on floor just like they do on dismounts off beam and bars.
Jess is a local here. She competed for Desert Lights Gymnastics under head coach John Speeney, the former ASU head coach, so she's definitely a fan favorite here.
Double pike to finish her team. Just starting to get some of Iowa State's scores in on beam. They've gone 9-7, 9-7-2-5, and 9-7-5 for their first three routines. ASU has also been in the 9.7 range, so it's really neck and neck.
This is Kelsey Paz, the senior on beam. The career high in this event is a 9.875. Stuck landing there on the dismount. This is junior Kate Safransky on the floor. Another powerful tumbler for ASU.
Like the score for the last routine on Iowa State just came in with a 9.9. So ASU is really going to have to pull out all the stops if they want to stay in this.
Jess Ginn's score just came in on floor was a 9.825. Did not stick that landing.
No, unfortunately, that'll be a 5/10 fall. So ASU will look to finish strong so they don't have to count that.
Back on beam for Iowa State.
So for Severs, that was a strong finish to her routine. She did have a pretty major wobble in the middle of the routine, but she covered it well and maintained composure.
Up next on floor for ASU is Ann Coon.
Over to bars with Iowa. I believe this is Kaji. Beautiful whip to immediate double tuck from Coon.
She's small, but she definitely still has that power in her tumbling. Score just came in for Megan Severs on beam. She got a 9.775. Kate Safransky, despite the fall, she's got a 9. So they will definitely have to make up for this in these final 2 routines.
That was a very difficult routine from Ann. She did step out of bounds on her last pass, so it'll be a tip deduction for that. Meanwhile, Iowa State over on beam continues to put up solid routines. And the anchoring gymnast for Iowa on bars did miss her release move at Ginger. She was just a little too far.
Freshman Kyra Leonard-Baker to close things out for ASU on floor. She is a powerful gymnast, so you'll see some strong tumbling from her, and she has a very fun routine with some familiar music in it too, so fans will definitely enjoy that. Over on bars, Iowa
believe this is an exhibition routine. Nice handstand.
Cairo here on floor.
A clean routine for Iowa.
Iowa State Haley Young's score just came in at 9.85. Ann Coombe with a 9.7 in that last routine.
Short on her rotation there on the last front full skill, but she covered it and stayed in control by stepping backwards into her lunge. Final tumbling pass here. Little chest down on the landing.
Very minor errors in that routine, so should see a strong score from her on that.
ASU was able to close out their floor rotation with two strong routines from Ann and Cairo, so they will not have to count the fall from Caitlin Safransky. They will have to count the out of bounds from Ann, but either way, they should be happy with that rotation.
That completes the final rotation, so we will be back shortly with the final scores. Hello and welcome back. We have some final tallies for you. Iowa State comes in first with a 195.12. Arizona State in second with a 194.675. Auburn in third with a 193.95. And Iowa in fourth with a 193.
Yeah, so Iowa State was definitely the most polished team here this evening, so they deserved the win, and their scores reflect that. They didn't have to count a fall on any event. Arizona State in second did have to count a fall on beam, and they actually may have won had they not fallen. The fall is a half a point of deduction. They trailed by less than a half a point. So had things been different, had they been able to stay on the beam, this might have been ASU's meet tonight. But as they fell, it was Iowa State that took the win. Auburn really surprised me. They were not as polished as we expected them to be, coming in as the highest ranked team in the preseason coaches poll. They seemed a little bit off on their landings and had some major errors that they ended up having to count in their score. So I'm sure that they will be going back into the gym to work on getting some more consistency and polishing out some of those landings.
That's for sure. Iowa had some major falls on bars, and so they ended up finishing more than 2 points behind and were not able to make up for that.
Yeah, and that was really unfortunate for Iowa. They were really in this all the way until the last rotation. But falls on bars can be really detrimental. Depending on where the fall occurs in the event, it can break their bonus connections and really impact their score more than just the deduction for falling off the apparatus, but they don't get credit for bonus or special requirements of connections of skills. And that's what I think happened to Iowa. They had several gymnasts that had errors, and it really just hurt them quite a bit.
Some event finals in vault. Megan Stivers out of Iowa State, she won with a 9.875 on the uneven bars. You got Samantha Sero from Auburn. Balance beam, Kelsey Paz out of Iowa State, and on floor, Claire Kaji out of Iowa. And in the all around, the senior Haley Young out of Iowa State, she finished in first with a 39.2. Kyra Leonard-Baker, the freshman from ASU, she finished in fourth with a 39. She definitely impressed here at her first collegiate meet.
Yeah, and she had a really nice meet today, but there are even some areas where she can improve. She can clean up some of her landings, focus on things like her toe point that will really impress the judges and help her bump that 39 all-around score up into 39.2, 39.3, where she could be a contender at any meet that she goes to.
That's for sure. Ann Coombe, she finished in sixth with a 38.55. If she didn't have that fall on beam, she definitely could have finished in the top three. But still a great meet from her. Arizona State will travel to West Virginia next week to take on West Virginia in Morgantown on Sunday, January 14th. That will be at 11 a.m. Arizona time, so be sure to catch that.
Yeah, and that's actually the ASU's associate head coach, Jess Santos' alma mater. So I'm sure that they will be looking forward to go back there.
A little bit of a homecoming for her.
Homecoming and maybe starting a little bit of a new rivalry.
That will be a one to watch, that's for sure. Well, for Mary Belma and Carly Mathias, I'm Carly Mathias. Thanks for joining us in Pac-12 Digital.
Away from the bar and couldn't hold on.
Freshman Kyra Leonard Baker to close things out for ASU on the floor. She is a powerful gymnast, so you'll see some strong tumbling from her, and she has a very fun routine with some familiar music in it too, so fans will definitely enjoy that. Over on bars, Iowa,
I believe this is an exhibition routine. Nice handstand.
Cairo here on floor.
A clean routine for Iowa.
Iowa State Haley Young's score just came in at 9.85. Ann Coombe with a 9.7 in that last routine.
Short on her rotation there on the last front full skill, but she covered it and stayed in control by stepping backwards into her lunge. Final tumbling pass here. Little chest down on the landing.
Very minor errors in that routine, so should see a strong score from her on that.
Yeah, ASU was able to close out their floor rotation with two strong routines from Ann and Cairo. So they will not have to count the fall from Caitlin Safransky. They will have to count the out of bounds from Ann, but either way, they should be happy with that rotation.
That completes the final rotation, so we will be back shortly with the final scores. Hello and welcome back. We have some final tallies for you. Iowa State comes in first with a 195.12. Arizona State in second with a 194.675. Auburn in third with a 193.95. And Iowa in fourth with the 193.
Yeah, so Iowa State was definitely the most polished team here this evening, so they deserved the win, their scores reflect that. They didn't have to count a fall on any event. Arizona State in second did have to count a fall on beam, and they actually may have won had they not fallen. A fall is a half a point of deduction. They trailed by less than a half a point. So had things been different, had they been able to stay on the beam, this might have been ASU's meet tonight. But as they fell, it was Iowa State that took the win. Auburn really surprised me. They were not as polished as we expected them to be, coming in as the highest ranked team in the preseason coaches poll. They seemed a little bit off on their landings and had some major errors that they ended up having to count in their score. So I'm sure that they will be going back into the gym to work on getting some more consistency and polishing out some of those landings.
That's for sure. Iowa had some major falls on bars, and so they ended up finishing more than 2 points behind and were not able to make up for that.
Yeah, and that was really unfortunate for Iowa. They were really in this all the way until the last rotation. But falls on bars can be really detrimental. Depending on where the fall occurs in the event, it can break their bonus connections and really impact their score more than just the deduction for falling off the apparatus, but they don't get credit for bonus or special requirements of connections of skills. And that's what I think happened to Iowa. They had several gymnasts that had errors, and it really just hurt them quite a bit.
Some event finals in vault. Megan Stivers out of Iowa State. She won with a 9.875 on the uneven bars. You got Samantha Sero from Auburn. Balance beam, Kelsey Paz out of Iowa State, and on floor, Claire Kaji out of Iowa. And in the all around, the senior Haley Young out of Iowa State. She finished in first with a 39.2. Cairo Leonard Baker, the freshman from ASU, she finished in fourth with a 39. She definitely impressed here at her first collegiate meet.
Yeah, and she had a really nice meet today, but there are even some areas where she can improve. She can clean up some of her landings, focus on things like her toe point that will really impress the judges and help her bump that 39 all-around score up into 39.2, 39.3, where she could be a contender at any meet that she goes to.
That's for sure. Ann Coombe, she finished in sixth with a 38.55. If she didn't have that fall on beam, she definitely could have finished in the top three. But still a great meet from her. Arizona State will travel to West Virginia next week to take on West Virginia in Morgantown on Sunday, January 14th. That will be at 11 a.m. Arizona time, so be sure to catch that.
Yep, and that's actually the ASU's associate head coach, Jess Santos' alma mater. So I'm sure that they will be looking forward to go back there.
A little bit of a homecoming for her.
Homecoming and maybe starting a little bit of a new rivalry.
That will be a one to watch, that's for sure. Well, for Mary Belma and Carly Mathias, I'm Carly Mathias. Thanks for joining us in Pac-12 Digital.